Hi, I am Ren Dunning. This is my 5th JavaScript progress vlog. And this week I worked on arrays, and I'm going to jump right in to when I was updating elements. So here you can see I created an array of grocery items, including bread, tomatoes, and milk. And then when I called that first index of grocery list, remember that arrays are zero index, so it's going to be 0, 1, 2. I called that first index, which was tomatoes, and I reassigned it to avocados. And when we logged that to the console, you can see I successfully reassigned that first index of the array grocery list. I reassigned it to avocados. Then I worked on arrays with the let and const declare variables. I have an array using the let, and I made an array of condiments, and then I created an array using the const declare variable and made an array of utensils. Here I accessed the 0 index of condiments, so that would be the ketchup, and I reassigned it to mayo. And then when I log it to the console, I can see that I successfully reassigned ketchup to mayo, and that array was able to print. And then next I tried, instead of just declaring a single index and reassigning a single index, I just reassigned the entire variable of condiments. The entire array of condiments. I just reassigned that to just mayo. So now when I logged the array of condiments to the console, it's just mayo, because I was successfully able to reassign the entire array to just mayo. Now let's see what happens when we try to do that with the constant array of utensils. So when I call the third index of utensils, which is spork, and I try to reassign it to spoon, and then I log it, you can see that I successfully reassigned the spork to spoon. But then here's the problem. When I try to reassign the entire array of utensils to spatula, and I try to log it, it doesn't work. The assignment to constant variable, I get a type error. And so that's the difference between let and const arrays, is that with let arrays, you can reassign elements inside the array, and you can reassign the entire array to value something different. But with const arrays, you can still change an element inside the array, but you can't reassign the entire array. So that's why we had that issue over here. Here's the .length property. I made an objectives array with 3 values: learn a new language, read 52 books, and run a marathon. And then I did a console.log with the array objectives, and I adhered that .length property, and it's going to tell us right there are 3 values or 3 elements in that array. Here's the .push method. I created an array of chores equal to wash dishes, do laundry, take out trash, and then I did chores and adhere .push, and in the parentheses in the argument area, I put make bed and feed dogs, and then when I console.log that, you can see the .push method just throws those 2 arguments that I included. It just throws them on the end, and so it just adds those on the end. The .pop method is kind of the reverse of .push. So I have this chores array: wash dishes, do laundry, take out trash, cook dinner, mop floor. And that .pop, I don't have to put anything in those parentheses. And then when I print the array, let's see what happened. Now I only have 4 instead of 5 chores. It took off the last one. .pop with nothing in those parentheses, with no argument or parameters. It's just going to remove 1 off the last of the array. So we just have wash dishes, do laundry, take out trash, cook dinner. No more mop floor. That's what that pop does. So then here I worked with more array methods. Here you can see I created an array called grocery list and set that equal to orange juice, bananas, coffee beans, brown rice, pasta, coconut oil, and plantains. And then this .shift is going to act somewhat like the .pop method, but instead of removing it from the end, it's going to remove it from the front. So when we print grocery list, you can see over here that instead of removing it from the back, it's going to remove the first item from the front. So we no longer have orange juice. And then unshift is sort of like push, except it adds it to the front of the list as opposed to the back of the list. So when we unshift it, you can see in the second array printed, we have popcorn at the front of the list instead of at the back of the list, what push would do, excuse me. So yeah, with unshift, it puts it on the front. Then with .slice. .slice is really interesting to me. .slice is going to take a certain section of the array and only print a certain section, and then that section is determined by what indexes I put here. So this first number is going to be index 1, and with the .slice right here, this first number is going to be inclusive, and the second number is going to be exclusive. So this is going to print indexes 1 through 3, or elements 2 through 4, and it's not going to print index number 4. So as you can see over here, bananas, coffee beans, and brown rice. Those are indexes 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is not inclusive. So that's how the dot slice works, and then I printed that. And then here's, I created a variable called pasta index, and I set it equal to grocery list.index of with an argument of pasta. And then when I console log it, it's going to tell me what index this element is in the array I created. So you can see it's telling me pasta is the fourth index, excuse me. So I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can check it. Pasta is the fourth index. Here is arrays and functions. It's kind of the same outcome as if I were to just use the dot pop or the dot push, except that it utilizes different notation. So in the future, when I use more complex coding, it might be easier to mutate arrays in the form of functions. So here you can see I created a concept array equal to arrays can be mutated, and then I created a function. I named the function change r with the argument of r, and then calling the third index of the array, which would be mutated, I changed it to all uppercase so we could check to see if it would re-assign it correctly. And then I called the function with an argument of the original array, so then when we print it, you can see that we successfully were able to change the third index, fourth item. We were successfully able to change it using this function body. And then this is a second function that I utilized named remove element with the argument of new r. And then I used the dot pop method. And then when I called the function and used it on the array concept and I logged it, you can see that that dot pop in that function body did the same execution as when we used dot pop before, and it took off that last element in the array there. Nested arrays. Nested arrays are, it's exactly what it sounds like. You got arrays inside of an array, and so here I created that. You could see that with this notation, brackets inside of brackets. And then I created a constant variable named target equal number clusters, so I called that array. And then what this notation looks like, what it means, is that it's going to talk about the second index inside. So we go 0, 1, 2, so it's going to talk about this little nested array. And then it wants the first index inside that second nested array. So we're going to talk about the 6. So if we print it, you can see it's just as we expected. So it's talking about the second index, and then the first index within that second index. All right, and this is my big project. This was my own inspiration. I didn't get any of this inspiration from Code Academy. I like to, when I come to the end of a section, I like to review the concepts using one big coding structure. And so here you can see I created my grocery list, a dialogue. Now, you could see that there's a lot of console.logs over here, but that's just because I had dialogue that, had to be written as a console.log, but not all of this is console.logs. I could have done that. I could have printed this as all console.logs, all strings, but that wouldn't really be utilizing my knowledge and what I've learned. I like to throw my concepts in there and really, exercise what I've learned. So I'm going to read it off, and then I'll walk you through how I made this code. All right. My grocery list, a dialogue. I should go to the grocery store. Let me make a list. Scribble, scribble. Total grocery list, raspberries, blackberries, bagels, cream cheese, yogurt. What was my first item? I forgot. First item, raspberries. Oops, I already have enough raspberries. I should get strawberries instead. First adjusted item, strawberries. Let me jot down my new list and my amount of items. Total grocery list 2.0. Strawberries, blackberries, bagels, cream cheese, yogurt. Total grocery items, 5. I should get bread too. Total grocery list 3.0. Strawberries, blackberries, bagels, cream cheese, yogurt, bread. What am I thinking? I have plenty of sourdough in the pantry. Total grocery list 4.0. Strawberries, blackberries, bagels, cream cheese, yogurt. I should divide my list by different sections at the store. Produce section, strawberries, blackberries. Bread and dairy section, bagels, cream cheese, yogurt. Alright, I'm at the store with strawberries in my cart, so let me remove it from the list. Remaining items, blackberries, bagels, cream cheese, yogurt. I have to finish shopping. Thanks for helping with my list. Alright, so this is quite extensive. Whoever's grocery list this is, they need to get their things straight, because this was like 5 different versions of a grocery list, but it's just for the sense of the story. So like I said, I have to console.log those dialogues. I'm not going to really walk through those aren't part of the coding. But then you can see I created an array here of grocery lists, and I set it equal to those items that I was talking about in the story. And I never had to type that again. I never had to type this whole array again because I just utilized and I called the array. So every single time you see me change this array and change this grocery list, I wasn't typing that out. Like I said, I could have console.logged it and made it a string. But like I said, that wouldn't be utilizing the knowledge that I've learned and the time I've spent learning arrays. So I would announce it, as total grocery list, and I just would call that array. And then here, when I forgot what my first item was, I called the index 0 of grocery list and assigned it to my first item, and then I called the first item variable. So when I said first item plus first item, it called the 0 index of grocery list, and it would tell me my first item was raspberries. I'm like, oops, I already have enough raspberries. I should get strawberries instead. So I once again called that index 0 of the array grocery list, which was originally raspberries, and I reassigned it to strawberries. So now I created a new variable of first adjusted item equal the new value of index 0, and then I printed it, first adjusted item plus this new variable I created, which is now strawberries. So then every time I had a new adjusted grocery list, I would just put the grocery list array. You could see that here and here and here, so I never had to type it out again. Here you could see I did the dot length property, the method, and it would tell me I have 5 grocery items. There's 5 elements in my array. Here I used the dot push, which was going to shove bread on the end of the array, just add it quickly on the end there. And then I'm like, oops, what am I thinking? I already have plenty of bread. So I used the dot pop method, and I took bread right off. Printed my grocery list once again, and then this is my dot slice methods. Like I said, I love these. So I did the grocery list dot slice, and remember, this first index is inclusive and the second index is exclusive. So this is going to print indexes 0 through 1, or items 1 and 2. So that's going to be strawberries and blackberries, the first and second items on my list, or indexes 0 and 1. Now when I did bread and dairy section, grocery list dot slice 2 and 5, this is going to be inclusive index number 2, and it's going to be exclusive of 5, so it's going to stop at index 4. So that's going to be items 3 through 5, bagels, cream cheese, and yogurt, or index 2, 3, and 4. It gets a little confusing with the numbers, especially since arrays are 0 indexed. You just have to pay really good attention. I've already gone through like 3 takes where I mixed up the elements here, I mixed up the indexes. But yes, you have to be very certain of not mixing up your elements and your indexes and things like that, and remembering that the dot slice methods are inclusive and then exclusive. So then for my last code, I used the dot shift once I already had my strawberries in my cart, and that just crosses off strawberries from the front of the list and takes it off. So then it finishes. Remaining items, use that array one last time. I have to finish shopping. Thanks for helping with my list. So there are probably a lot more productive ways to do this, like not typing console log a million times, and there are definitely better ways to do it, but this was just utilizing the information I've learned now and the knowledge I have now, and I'm proud of it. I love to review what I've gone over, so it really cements in my head and I can remember these concepts. And like I said, probably a lot more productive way to do this, but that's not the point. I just wanted to showcase something that I worked on. I showed it to my mom, I showed it to my friends, I was proud of it, and yeah, I wanted to show it to you too. So thank you for stopping by, thank you for looking at my projects and what I've been learning so far, and I will have another video for you, I will have another video for you next Friday. Alright, see you then.